Okay, so if you didn't know, BioWare recently had a huge amounts of layoffs. I mean, they just cleaned house. They fired a lot of people, including veterans. Veterans, like some of the last few remaining people that probably worked on well, considering BioWare's track record, possibly Dragon Age 2 or maybe even I mean, hell, not even that many from Origins, considering that they recently had someone speak out on the fact that it was like, what, it's like possibly 5 people who originally worked on Origins that even knows how to use that engine. So that's one of the reasons why there's not going to be a legendary edition of those games. Terrible. Just so terrible. But they fired a bunch of people in regards to the fact that when they had their little quarterly review, and like I spoke on before, which obviously must have happened, when they fired the director of Dragon Age Veilguard. And you got to remember, that was a very, very big loss for them. Now, the game itself underperformed immensely to the point where they just, as the idiots that they are, were scratching their head as to why it was that bad, or why did it perform that terrible. You can listen to them make all the projections and all the little inquiries that they want, or other people trying to defend the game, but you are seeing the aftermath of essentially the writing that was on the walls as soon as this shit was announced and it was going to be the way that it was. Fuck, they even had the pathetic streamer that sat there and was saying, "Oh, the inclusivity, love to see it. Got the chest scars from the fucking trans surgery." Like, so in a magical world, why? Why would there be scars? Stupid. Why even have that? Stupid. So, and then you had them essentially stream and saying that they believe BioWare is no longer like helping them, or they're in it for them, and they never were. They obviously never were. They only did what they did because they thought it would make them money. The problem is that everyone was screaming at them, "This will not make you money," and they just ignored it, which is stupid. It makes absolutely no sense that essentially it's like, all right, we'll listen to the smallest group of minorities in terms of what it is that they want within a video game. And towards the large majority, which is actually buying and paying for our shit, our fan base, our huge, extensive catalog of games that have beloved characters and beloved times being spent, played in it, beloved times, but people who spent a ridiculous amount of time playing our games, falling in love with it, and holding us to a certain standard. And all of those people are telling us they want the games to be this way and it would be amazing. But we're going to listen to the small group of idiots that essentially don't even fucking play the games, let alone are even shown to really be into it as much as our fan base is. But hey, we got one of the things to be the director, and almost all of the people behind the games are essentially a-okay with all of their decisions, not taking into account the fact that the majority of these people are brand new hires. A lot of the people who essentially made and built our reputation have fucking left because of all the stupid ass practices that essentially were being forced onto our games on account of EA being dumb. And for some reason, everyone that's in this stupid bubble is telling us that we're on the right path. We're on the right side of history. We're doing the right thing. We're going to make a lot of money. And they didn't. They just really, really didn't. Not only do you have a majority of people who bought the game just in the sense of just shitting on it, you then have essentially so many people just using your game as a baseline behind what it is that you don't do towards what it is that you will do with a game, with an example of a game like Baldur's Gate 3. And it's like, hey, this is what people want within an RPG. And then it's like, well, let's look at Dragon Age The Veilguard. And no, not at all. You compare it to any other Dragon Age game, with the character customization being a downgrade, the storyline being a downgrade, the characters that you interact with being a downgrade, everything about it being incredibly stupid, ridiculous, and unbelievably just unfucking playable. Sprinkled with politics. Stupid politics, gender ambiguity politics, dumbass non-binary shit, common day bullshit that has never once reared its ugly head in Dragon Age, let alone has been a main staple for it to take such a huge oversight that essentially would be at the forefront of the video game. So many people know about the Quinari bitch that essentially is non-binary in the video game, and they haven't even played Dragon Age Veilguard. But how many other characters do you know that are like essentially playable characters within the game? People know the Quinari chick's name. I don't remember, but some people do, and they'll say it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there goes what you call it." Fucked it up for everybody. But the other companions are just, non-existent, because it's like, what other reason did anyone have to pay attention to the game? It was either they paid attention because they hated it, or they just didn't play it. and it goes to show you that essentially this was always going to happen, and it needed to happen. And it's like, I hate that it's happening to a company that essentially I fell in love with the shit that it was allowing you to do in the games that came out. Hell, I got fucking Mass Effect playing in the background because of the fact that it's like, hey, guess what? I really enjoy that goddamn game. But we're at a moment where it's like, I'm good with the 3 Mass Effects that exist, and I don't need anything else. I know they're going to make another one, but it's not gonna be good. It won't be good. You had such an easy layup. You had multiple IPs that are basically money makers, and you personally fuck them over for no reason other than the fact that the people whose jobs it is to be in the cultural zeitgeist for video gamers, what it is gamers want to play, what it is people are willing to spend their money on, what it is that a normie would look at and possibly think, ooh, that'd be worth buying, would even do, and you completely missed the mark. But it's your job to not miss the mark, and you didn't do it once, you didn't do it twice, you did it 3 fucking times with a major AAA title. How do you fuck up that bad and not understand that you don't know what you're doing? That you need to clean house, that you need to change your battle plan, because obviously you fucking stupid. Now, you can chalk this shit up to the fact that it's like much like with actually worse than movies, video game productions are things that takes years to handle. But at the same time, it's like, well, look at all the video games that are out now and the multiple ones that essentially are trying to jump ship and change what the fuck they got going on by like essentially last couple of days before it come out, going in and just fine tuning and tweaking whatever the hell they can, because they're realizing that gamers are not going to appreciate what it is that they haven't done correctly. Assassin's Creed Shadows is a perfect example of that. That game was supposed to come out like in the middle of 2024, and then got pushed to November, or it was supposed to come out in November or something like that, only then to get pushed to like February of this year, 2025, and then again it just got delayed again. And it's like, and that costs money. It costs money to delay it, but they need to delay it because the delay is allowing them to fix all the bullshit that they obviously put into the game, which people are definitely not going to like. And once they see that it's in the game, and once you have a majority of the streamers, the Let's Players, and all the shit like that, and these people essentially run to whatever social media that they can and let everyone know, oh yeah, that bullshit that we thought was going to be in the game, it's in the game. Okay, then I'm not going to buy it. And that's money. But again, you have another company that essentially that's another company that essentially does the same fuckery that BioWare has done, Ubisoft. So it's disgusting that this keeps happening, because again, I wouldn't care as much. I personally I wouldn't care as much if this wasn't happening to something that I enjoyed, past tense. But it's like seeing the downfall of your own stupid hubris, and it's like, well, I can't help but take some type of pleasure in that. Schadenfreude. You gotta understand that this is just unbelievably cathartic. It needed to happen because hopefully other games or basically another company would essentially pull a Baldur's Gate 3. And that's a game I'm actually looking forward to playing. I can't play it now. My PC ain't strong enough. And also I don't have a 5 because ain't nothing worth playing for me to want to get a 5. I hate being a gamer now. My huge extensive catalog of games is like I gotta boot up an old system in order to play those. And it's like, ugh. But that's it. Those are my personal problems. But yeah, I mean, this shit is bad. You have a majority of these idiots that got fired. They ran to not Twitter, but Blue Sky. Twitter too. Just this time the gays for real. They ran to Blue Sky because of course they went to Blue Sky to essentially beg for jobs. So many of them posting on that site being like, well, I just got laid off of BioWare, or I've been working there. But it's like, it's not just new people. They fired veterans, like damn near the entire writing team of the people responsible for Veilguard. They got rid of. But they shouldn't have been there in the first fucking place. Those people had no talent. Hell, one of the tweets had a bunch of misspellings and terrible grammar in it. And it was like, you were paid to be a writer. And even on your own personal shit, you can't write. Jesus Christ. And it's like, how do these people get these jobs? Because Lord knows I would love to be in there, get paid to do what you do, and actually do well so I could keep a job and not be like the bitch ass director that essentially got fired and told everybody, well, I'm leaving to do my own personal thing. It was a job opportunity of a lifetime and I couldn't pass it up. You were the game director of a major IP franchise. If you were worth a damn, they would have had you, or they would have allowed you to make whatever fuck you wanted to make under the identity of it being BioWare, and then it just would have garnered even more money because, it was a job of a lifetime. Yeah, how you go from a director to essentially working at a smaller position for a company under Wizards of the Coast, and it's like they're technically they're working for Wizards of the Coast, but it's the same thing like when they were at BioWare. Technically, they were under EA, but they worked at BioWare. So now they're working at another company that's under Wizards of the Coast. And again, you were at BioWare. You wanted to, it was like, and then they was like, I'm going off to make RPGs. And it's like, my love is for RPGs. And it's like, no, it isn't. Because the game that you created was not an RPG. It was terrible. It was so terrible. So terrible, they fired your ass for it. And they not only fired you, they fired the people that you surrounded yourself with that told you and inflated your fucking ego that you knew what the fuck you were doing. So, this shit is terrible. BioWare is going to get destroyed. They are going to get destroyed. That's gonna happen. It's disgusting that it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. I wouldn't have wanted it to happen, but hey, too bad, so sad. I could give less of a fuck that it's going away now because of everything that they've done. Mass Effect Andromeda, bad game. It's a bad game, boring characters, boring concept. The only positive of Andromeda was that the actual battle mechanics or the shootings and the powers and shit like that you could use, and even how you can implement and change up what you could do. That was the only positive that game had. The story is so goddamn boring, it's ridiculous, because everything about it hinged on, when we do a sequel, this might matter, or this might matter, or this might matter, and that might matter. But it's like, who gave a fuck? This shit was boring. It's so boring. There's nothing intriguing or interesting about being the fucking Pathfinder character, which is also a very stupid name. And it's like, you couldn't just pick a random ass common last name like with Shepard. No. Pathfinder. Whatever. But it, ah, man, it's like you had that. You had, Anthem. Gotta love you some Anthem. Oh man, I feel bad for anyone who bought that game. You were so stupid. If you bought Anthem, you are so stupid. I knew from the jump, as soon as they showed it at E3, and it was like, this is in-game, this is engine footage, not even game play, but engine footage, and the shit that they were doing, and the stuff that they was doing, and the stuff like they had, like them talking on the comms, and it's like, this is supposed to be you interacting with your other teammates and shit like that, and it's like, this game ain't gonna play like that. There's no way this game could play like that. But it's BioWare. There's no way this game's gonna play like that. It ain't happening, Doc. Sorry. But you, like, Jesus Christ, 3 failures going on 4. Fuck. Like, you, not within the triple game sphere. Not in the scope of basically losing that much money. Not with having EA at your neck. Like, known for gutting the fucking studio. You know that they're known for gutting the fucking studio, and you fuck up like this. Now, granted, EA is at fault for basically cascading all of this bullshit to happen because of their stupid obsession with live service and the CEO being incredibly disingenuous when it comes to just how gamers are supposed to be or how gamers should function. I mean, it's the equivalent of the guy that's running fucking Rockstar, who basically doesn't even call gamers gamers. He just says consumers. Like, fucking it. You have somebody that's basically just hell-bent on trying to make a profit through live service. But they don't understand that essentially there's only like 4 or 5 live service games out there that are actually making a congruent profit. And a majority of them are making a profit because they have a long-standing situation going on. Whereas, like, either they're associated with a very popular IP, they're following off the guise of essentially perfecting something that has been it's been done a lot, but it hasn't really it is only there now through nostalgia. But then essentially a brand new thing comes out, does the exact same thing, but essentially the game is just all the more better because it's perfecting what it is that the previous game fucked up. Case in point would be Overwatch 2 and Marvel Rivals. The intent of essentially just making bank on people continuously playing your game over and over and over and over and over again. There's nothing wrong with that. Your company is designed to make money. Fine. But you need to make a good game that's worthy of being a live service game that'll just sit there and make you money over and over and over and over and over again. You can't just push out whatever bullshit you want and expect to make money. Look at Concord. Look at all the other games that have came out to try to be a battle royale after Fortnite appeared and have bombed and failed miserably. Look at what the fuck is happening with Apex Legends, where essentially that game is now going through the ringer because of the bullshit practices that they're doing because they're trying to be predatory. It's dumb. It's incredibly dumb and disingenuous, yet one of the major selling points of the PlayStation 4 was the fact that the PlayStation kept pumping out single-player games that was making them millions. How do you not look at the sphere and the scope of what it is that gamers want? With your entire identity, it's been making massively popular single-player games that people have enjoyed and loved for fucking decades. Not decades. I'm sorry, I misspoke. For years. It has been at least a decade. And you just completely missed the buck because essentially EA's fucking stupid and they hired a bunch of people at BioWare that just didn't know what the fuck BioWare is even about. None of them got any talent. None of them know what the hell they're doing. And it's just wrecking you. You just get fucking rammed in the ass with stupid. And it's a different era of gaming. Yes, there's popular live service stuff, but that's not all that there is. They could have been making money hand over fist if this Dragon Age game was to have been any good. Any good. If this game was, if the character creation system was essentially as in-depth as Dragon Dogmas 2, you would have, it's like, that would have been a positive. If your story elements would have been something to where it's like you had deep, intrusive storytelling, but with the same type of mentality that Knights of the Old Republic have. You could go either full-blown evil, or you can stay incredibly wholly good. Who knows? Hell, they've already had a game plan laid out for what they wanted the next Dragon Age game to be. But when EA immediately was like, they want live service, everybody that was a major hitter at BioWare fucking quit. Only then for them to shell out what they shelled out. And it's not even live service. How the fuck you explain that? It's such a stupid concept. And you hate to see it happen. You just hate to see it happen. But it's fun to watch. You hate to see it happen, but it's fun to watch. It's a car crash. That's all it is. It's just a motherfucking car crash. But, hey, by all means, if you were dumb enough to, think that these people were going to turn it around, to think that there's going to be any type of net positive behind what it is that's going on, and to think that, yeah, they're gonna come back. They gotta come back. They promise they'll come back, or they'll do better. No, this shit is in name only, and as soon as people realize that, the better they are. And it just, hey, let this shit die. Let it die. Let them sell it to somebody who actually cares, and then let them come back years later and try to rise a phoenix up out of these goddamn ashes. But until then, nah, just BioWare needs to go, and clearly they're going. So this has been another episode of Fun with Flame. I've been here with Danieltheflame, and as always, good people. Hope you had fun.